Hello, everyone. I'm Meriah Kruse from Life Force Marketing. I hope you're joining us today on either Facebook or YouTube. And thanks for taking a few minutes aside um, to join me in an interview with a very exciting and interesting woman. Today, I'm here on behalf of my ongoing project, which I call Be Heard Online. Everybody who's watching, if you would, feel free to comment or like at any point. That helps us to know that you are here. Okay, I'm encouraging solo business owners in wellness, in the arts, and leaders for change to find their voices, to make themselves more visible, more audible for an important purpose of some kind. I encourage people to share their leadership, their knowledge, opinions, perspectives, and wisdom with others, either toward building a new business, expanding or transitioning an existing business, or launching a movement or organization. My passion is to encourage each person who wants to be heard online to have the courage to muster the perseverance to gain the necessary storytelling and marketing skills, and to take the steps to be heard online and beyond. As part of this project, I have the privilege of writing about and sometimes interviewing people who are being heard in one form or another and who, in my opinion, are demonstrating excellence in the process. These one-to-one features will be called Hear Tell, a spotlight on pathfinders. And that's why we're here today. Hear Tell, as you may know, is an old-fashioned expression. I've heard it all my life. In the South, we use that expression like this. From what I hear tell, this is what happened. Hear Tell is the essence of being heard online. You know how this works. One person tells a story or shares her expertise. A second person hears or reads. Then that second person shares what they learned with someone else. This is how important news and stories travel. Repeated cycles of hearing or reading and then telling. In today's chapter of Hear Tell, we'll be joined by someone I'm excited to interview. Her name is Dr. Yamilet Kirkwood Williams, who she usually goes by Dr. Yam. Let me remind you before I introduce her, if you're watching us right now, comment or like so we know that you are here. Dr. Yam has a deep background in the education field, including work as a chief academic officer, an instructional technology director, a training analyst, and a business education teacher. And she has the academic credentials that you would expect for someone in such high-level positions. A master's degree in project management from the Keller School of Management, Devry University. And she also has a doctorate in urban educational leadership from the University of Oklahoma. Dr. Yam is sought after nationally to deliver keynotes and presentations to both youth and adults. As you'll see for yourself, she embodies a kind of entrepreneurial fire. She brings that fire in her leadership to audiences at middle and high school gatherings, as well as colleges, conferences, luncheons, churches, and state departments of education. In addition to a long-time K through 12 consultancy called Synergy Solutions, Dr. Yam also has an online coaching business. She calls it Keep It Simple Coach. She helps busy 9-to-5ers plan their escape route from a lifetime of working for others by transitioning from employee to entrepreneur. And she also works with new entrepreneurs to start their businesses with a strong foundation. It's in that capacity that she's here with us today, and it's an honor to introduce Dr. Yamilet Kirkwood Williams. Let me bring her into the studio. Dr. Yam.
Hello.
Hi. It's so great to have you here.
It is a pleasure to be with you, Meriah. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm having a great time. In the past, I've done these in the evening, and
Mm,
decided to experiment with doing it at lunchtime in hopes that we might catch a few people who are browsing Facebook or YouTube
yes.
during their lunch hour. And also
Mhm.
because I thought maybe we'd all feel a little perkier,
Perky.
not at the end of the day when energy is waning.
Yeah, I
So
get you.
I've got a series of questions to ask you, and if you don't mind, we'll just jump right in.
Oh, certainly. Go right ahead.
Okay. All right. So one thing I know about you, have you spent your professional life as an educator working in administration and in instructional development, which is exciting to me. Now you have a 7-year-old K through 12 leadership consultancy and a coaching business, working with solopreneurs and people starting new businesses, as I said earlier. How did your work in education give you a head start in your new business, Keep It Simple Coach? Were there skill sets, work habits, or perspectives that you discovered were quite useful once you started up in your new field?
Oh, wow. I would have to say that some of the pre-skills or presets go back to my father as an
Hmm.
entrepreneur himself and his parents. They were in real estate. My father was a craftsman as well as owning his own jewelry store. So I've gotten that entrepreneurial gene, you could say. And so I've had that level of exposure.
Mm-hmm.
My love for teaching um, was also a part of that ability to share knowledge and empower others to do their best and bring out the best in themselves. And through my teaching, my subject matter was technology and business education. So those foundational practices and components I learned and applied inside of my work. And then as a part of being a practitioner in education, a lot of coaching philosophies are kind of brought into our world is to help us to become better and as teachers and as educators in our spaces, what we call professional learning communities. And so that uh, those skill sets of coaching and building those and kind of bridging them together between the coaching and the entrepreneurship and business, and also just leadership over the years is allowed me to kind of cultivate that ability to leave where I was from an administrator and kind of starting off on my own as in a consultant basis
Mm-hmm.
as a freelancer, solopreneur, and now and as a coach. I still run my business full time and I have a staff that we go out on a contract basis. But essentially those were the things, my practices, my education, my learning experiences all kind of culminated together, gave me an ability to set the foundation for my own business and apply what I've learned into putting it into practice.
Thank you. Thanks for the detail. I wanted to ask you that because I think a lot of people who are considering leaving a lifetime of working for someone else to start their own business, they may not realize how many gifts and skills
Yes.
and habits and work ways that they already have that are going to come in really handy when they become more entrepreneurial in their life story. So thanks for that. You and I met, as you know, in a 15-day video challenge. It was hosted by my favorite video mentor. I think he's someone you like a lot too, and
Yes.
that is Lou Bortone. I noticed then that pretty much we were supposed to each make a video every day for 15 days. That was a pretty big deal for me. I did it. I think you did it too, but I don't think it was nearly as big a deal for you because you're very technologically oriented. I noticed then that pretty much every video that you made involved a variety of platforms and technologies. And since getting to know you a little better, I now understand that for you, technology is fun. It's almost like a hobby for you, in addition to being professionally convenient. Um, you're always checking out new online companies that help people in one form or another to be heard online, which is partly why I wanted to have your company today. So, how did this lead to your starting your new social media management platform, Social Balance?
Wow. So yay for Lou. So he's like the video we call him the video godfather.
Yeah.
So I always and we stay connected inside of his community as well. Yeah, technology has been a part of my life for a very long time, even as a child. Back when we didn't even have laptops, computers. I date myself. However, yeah, so my love for kind of exploring and discovering and checking out tools and resources because I feel as though that's where my love kind of technology is. It's like, oh, how can we simplify and make things better? And there's all these resources and these tools that are cool. Not that you need to use them all, but the awareness is kind of what's fun about sharing what I found. It's like, oh, look what I found.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, the reason why I'm called the Keep It Simple Coach is I have a knack for taking complex matters and simplifying them.
Mm.
Because what people hate most is being talked over.
Yeah.
And wasting time, because then it just becomes noise. They're not listening. They hear you, but they're not listening. And if they're not listening, then they're not going to take home anything or absorb it themselves and be able to apply it in some practical way.
Mm.
And I find it quite easy to be able to take a complex concept and be able to drill it down to a way in which other people can get it easier and just simplify it so it doesn't become arduous and hard. And when it, yeah, I think it's been a gift for me, and I try to use it to make things to help others. And over the years, both in my own personal experience coming into a space of online business and also offline, so I do both. The ability to have, as you call it, that voice and that presence online as a new business owner can be very overwhelming.
Yes, indeed.
And one, you're a one-woman man show, and there's a lot of moving parts, and you're going to wear a lot of hats at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to wear them well. You're not going to be cute. You're just not going to be cute. So in all of that, I happen to, because of the teacher in me, I was looking about how people approach social media, and and it's natural that when you're first starting, you're on sell mode, like buy me, sell, here, look at me, buy from me. And while yes, we all go into business to make money, even not for profit. So I do want to make that statement. You do need to have operational cash flow, right? So, but your presence online needs to have a balance. There needs to be a different set of components that's not always about buy for me, hey, look at me all the time. You want to be able to engage and be able to entertain and educate, as well as elicit information from your intended audience. And so out of that is where I grew a framework and designed it in such a kind of, how do I take all of those moving parts and kind of simplify it into a set of topics and categories that everybody can understand, and then build out of that framework came a space that is going to be called social balance.
We're going to hear more about social balance. I think it's very exciting, and I really commend you for taking such a huge leap. It's one thing to be a user of social media. It is another thing to be an intelligent user of social media, which you've talked a little bit about here. It's a totally different matter entirely to decide to create a platform that's going to make it easier for other people to use social media. And so I'm just really impressed with you for doing that, and I'm looking forward to trying it out myself. So there might be a few listeners who aren't familiar with the idea of social media management. Which is what will be happening with Social Balance. Can you give us just a short forum description of how this kind of app helps people manage their content and their marketing and make it easier to keep up with social media?
Certainly. As you well know, there are at least 7, if not more now, social media platforms where you have your presence. And typically what happens is, in order, if you go out to each one of these individual sites and you're putting out your post, you're creating and you're putting it out with the hope someone else will see it. And so you're jumping in and out of these spaces. And social media is just that, the managing of all of those moving parts so that you have your presence and you're creating your content that's going to go out into all of those different venues or platforms in order to be in front of the intended audiences that you have. So how can you manage this better and be effective in the use of your time and your productivity? And so a social media management platform like Social Balance is just that. We've centralized all of the components where you can facilitate the managing of your social media content, that being your ability to create, your ability to publish, and your ability to monitor that content.
Excellent. Thank you. That was very well said. It's only been recently, fairly recently, that I started using a social management platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really flabbergasted by how much more visibility I'm getting with less effort on my part. And I don't feel that constant nagging feeling of, oh, I should be posting something. I should be posting something somewhere. You know, it's already done. I check it at the beginning of the week. I enter some new content. I make a few adjustments, and then it goes out, and it goes out on my behalf without any further effort on my part. And so I'm really looking forward to trying your platform when it's ready to go. Now, I'm sure that some of our audience members are savvy online marketers and may already, like myself, use a social media planner or scheduler of some kind. Why should they consider using Social Balance rather than, say, Hootsuite or Social Bee or some of the others that already exist? So I really want you to just take a moment and, bold-faced, promote and tell us why. This is why I think you should take a look at Social Balance when it's ready to go.
Okay, great. So just what I said about what not to do, like, look at me. This is that moment. You can look at me.
To do it, so that's different.
Yeah. So I've taken the framework that I shared earlier, which are what we call this E to the sixth power. And it's about 6 components that are going to help you to have a balanced presence online. And that's what Social Balance provides you to do. And it's also about creating habits so that you do have, creating a habit with having a balanced social presence online. What Social Balance does differently than some of my soon-to-be competitors is that we take that framework and we're facilitating that with you inside of our base. And in addition to that, we are really designed for solopreneurs, freelancers, and coaches. We recognize that when you go to other options, that when you look at the plans, they're not intended or offered in a very robust way that you can have a larger number of accounts. Typically, like I mentioned earlier, there are 7 platforms out there. Not that you're going to be strong on all 7, but you want to have a presence there. Most are very limited to you in that you may only get 5 or 3 as a first basic plan. And then you have to scale up to have access to more additional plans. And another thing is we're all about knowing that you have the potential for growth on the front end. And one of the other bonuses or benefits of coming to a Social Balance is that most basic plans only allow for 1 user. We start you with 2 because, again, there's the belief that we want to grow you and be successful, so that you'll need to have a virtual assistant who's going to come in and be able to provide you with that oversight and managing of your social media content, so that you can focus on the things that you do best and you can start to hand things off as a part of your growth. So knowing that those are some of the pieces. And of course, we're connected with Canva. So now you'll be able to access your Canva content as you're creating your pieces of content and posts for all your different social medias. You'll be able to do all your different sizes. You'll have access to images through Picabee and Pexel content libraries as well.
Excellent.
You're going to have access to reports and analytics and be able to do what we call social listening, so that you can have direct communication and commenting to all of your platforms in one space. That's what's really critical, is how can we optimize your time and your productivity so that you can minimize being overwhelmed, and feel comfortable in your space, and then applying those practices that we mentioned earlier. So those are just some of the bells and whistles, and we're building out more pieces.
Excellent. Bravo. Good for you, Yam. In closing, I'm sure that some of our live audience, as well as those who are going to learn about you days or weeks or even months from now by watching the recordings of this video, which will be living on my website, on medium.com, perhaps some on your social media or some other property of yours. So there's a lot of ways people might see you in the future.
Yes.
And they're going to want to connect with you, especially about your new social media management platform. And I understand that there's even a possibility that people can, since you are in the very beginning right now, that, well, you're not in the very beginning. You're actually getting close to launching.
Yes, we're in pre-launch. Yes.
But you're not out there quite yet. Folks can become founding members. Tell us what that means and where they can go to learn about social balance, in the future.
Yes, thank you for that, Meriah.
You're welcome.
So in addition to running our consultancy firm and having the coaching component with Keep It Simple Coach, in my communities inside of Facebook, you'll be able to find me. The social balance is in its pre-launch stage, which means that we'll be going live with the product and opening it up for subscribers in the very near future. What we're looking to do right now is get everybody excited about joining and learning more. So I created a link for your audience that they can find their way to the website. So I don't know if you have it on the screen or not, but it's simply okay. And I can put it into the chat if you want, and it will show up in the comments. Would you like me to do that,
and we'll edit it in.
Okay. So simply want to go to
it. Put it in the chat as well. So do all the above and say it out loud.
Yeah. So for Meriah's audience, you simply can go to keepitsimplecoach.info /Meriah.
Okay.
And that's going to take you to our coming soon page where you'll be able to sign up so that you can get information and notifications about when we go live. And we will be having what we call our Founders Day deal. So those who come in on the first round of subscribers are going to be able to get our deal subscribership. It is a monthly subscription, and you can also tap into our annual subscriptions, and that will allow for a discounted rate as well.
Good.
So we're really excited about that. Plus, you're going to get an opportunity to get some merch like mugs, and we got some card decks coming. That's going to be really fun. You'll see us online talking more about that and other little things that are happening in addition to the platform that's coming. So we're really super excited. So again, keepitsimplecoach.info /Meriah is where you can connect with us and join our community of social managers.
Wonderful. Thanks for that nice, easy URL for us to all follow. keepitsimplecoach.info /Meriah. And my name is spelled MERIAH, which you can also see on the screen at the top. So Dr. Yam, I'm going to let you go for now, and I have a feeling we'll be talking again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Meriah. It was such a pleasure to meet you and work with you today.
I agree completely, and look forward to seeing you again in the future. So bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody. I told you that she was fiery, and I was right, wasn't I? So I'd like to take just a moment now to say something about myself. And basically what I want to let you know is that what we did today is a part of my initiative called Be Heard Online. And that, I'm just passionate about helping people who are already online but are frustrated because they're not getting enough traction, and they don't feel like they're approaching the idea of being online with in a methodical enough way, or with enough insight or support, or just knowledgeable, experienced background help. And Dr. Yam and I have this in common. We both like to work with people who are new in business. I also like to work with people who are more established but are wanting to expand their online presence. And in order to do that, to help people, I I wrote an ebook, and which is called 51 Ways to Shine Online. It's available on Amazon. But I also have a free version that's just sort of more like an excerpt book that has excerpts in it, much smaller, that you can try it out if you like, and that's free. And you can get either the ebook or the free sort of mini ebook at the URL that you see online right now, tinyurl.com/51 ways to shine. So that little address that's been on the screen the whole time, if you go there, you'll see your opportunity to grab either one of those that you're interested in, or both. And I just want to say that we'll be back in October. I want to say thank you to Dr. Yamilet Kirkwood-Williams. She was really a fiery entrepreneur. And every time I talk to her, I'm just blown away by everything how much territory we cover in a short time. And I come away so stimulated every single time. I also want to thank my behind the scenes helper, some of you might be encountering out there on Facebook or YouTube. And that is Balin Cruz Williams, who is himself someone who is excellent at being heard online. He has an amazing YouTube channel called Exploration Atlas. So go check out Exploration Atlas, in particular his most recent video that tells you how Colombia, the nation of, got a hippo problem, and it has something to do with Pablo Escobar. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. We'll be back in October. Please stay in touch. Visit lifeforcemarketing.com if you'd like to be in touch. Bye for now. This is Meriah Kruse. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Hear Tell, Spotlight on Pathfinders. To see another interview, click on the thumbnail image in the upper left-hand corner.